Each new year offers exciting opportunities for a fresh start and new beginnings. This was captured in President Muhammadu Buhari's New Year message, which he asked Nigerians to reflect on the past year, reposition and move forward with the new. The President's New Year message is quite symbolic in the sense that it is the last for him as the nation's leader and the year which will usher in a new democratically elected government. President Buhari's New Year message is the focus of discourse on this edition of Frontiers. I am Obiageli Ugwoke, and our guest is a public affairs analyst, Paddy Ezala.
Thank you.
And compliments of the new year.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
The program continues in just a moment. Once more, you're welcome to Frontiers.
Thank you very much.
And compliments of the new year.
Same to you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, the President's message captured some messages, and prominent among them is the upcoming 2023 general election. How would you describe the pattern of campaigns by the various political parties?
Well, it's gladdening to reiterate what you've already said, that the President has assured us that the government would make efforts. No stone will be left unturned to ensure there is a free, fair, and credible election. Having said that, we should note that the campaigns, as we have it this season, this period, is a different one to what we have been having all this while. The issues are more at the forefront right now, and there is more intellectual input in the engagements we are having, and the stakes they seem higher now. Participants know that there is no room for lack of intelligence, lack of information, lack of enthusiasm. People are better engaged right now than what we used to have in those in previous elections. But I think with the enactment of the amended Electoral Act into law and the repeated assurances from the President, I think people believe that it's going to be a credible election, and that is why they are throwing everything.
What is your take regarding sensitization of Nigerians about the forthcoming general elections? Are there relevant areas you think government agencies are supposed to pay more attention to ensure success of the 2023 election?
Yeah, that is not the role of government alone. There are various stakeholders with regard to enlightening the public to ensure that there is inclusiveness in elections. We mentioned the government and the government agencies, and also the media, the political parties themselves. Even I've started sensing some international development agencies, supporting various organizations to enlighten the public, because democracy thrives with enlightenment. It thrives with knowledge. It thrives with assertion, self-assertion. So people should be able to participate. They should know that it's about themselves. It's about the citizens, about the citizenry. So people should take part. We are not spectators. It's either you're contesting or you're voting. Everybody is involved. So once we realize that, the better for us as a society, as a country. And again, the leadership will be more representative of the people if everybody votes. And people should be assured that even if they sit back, they don't vote, the result will still be announced. There will be winners. But if you come out to vote, the winners, the leadership will be more of a representation of the people's will. That's why people are encouraged to come out to vote, so that the people who don't understand how governance should be are the ones who are voting. Then you're going to have the wrong government. But if everybody who wants good governance comes to make the right choices, I think that will be very good for the society. So there is need for inclusiveness, and that inclusiveness should be engineered by all stakeholders, not just government alone.
Now, the president said in his speech, and I quote, reflecting on the year 2022 allows us as a government to examine our legacies of successes and challenges. As we celebrate our wins and review obstacles, we almost understand that governance is a continuum.
Sure.
End of quote. What's your take on that?
Well, they recognize everything. It's wonderful. They recognize the fact that they have made some gains. They recognize there are challenges. But I didn't hear the word fail in some areas. We call them challenges, we don't call them failures. But the remaining 5 months is still a long period of time in governance to make amends. It's also encouraging that more attention is being paid to election. If you get it right, every other thing will follow. But it's not too late to make some corrections. But they have recorded some achievements, especially in the areas of infrastructure, what they call the legacy project. Nobody can take that away from them, even when we expected more. Yes, but they can point at some key projects that have recorded that various administrations before them could not carry out. That's good. Recognize that there are challenges, and the government is a continuum. In other words, they are saying that wherever we stop, who is coming next time should continue from there and conclude them, which is good.
Now, moving forward, the president also said that the year 2023 would be a year to work, solidifying on delivering key strategic priorities under security, economy, and anti-corruption as well.
It's always been there for the past 8 years. Economy, security, and fight against corruption, anti-corruption drive. It's been pursuing it. It's also good that they are trying to reinvigorate, to be able to charge. But the economy has been throwing up in the past 3 years various challenges that were not anticipated. We can say that, but they have been responding. But at times, some of the issues are not local. Some of them are international, global economic challenges that have been happening, whether they be from COVID-19, whether they be from the war or the conflict in Ukraine, whether they be by whatever, all over the world. There has been some unease economically, socially, and all that. So we agree. But there are also some internal challenges, which if you watch the government, they are reflexes at the same time. They have been able to identify them. For instance, the oil theft, which has been there for some time, but they are trying to deal with it decisively, and that will shore up the revenue of government. And I also add that those who have been caught flouting the law should be dealt with decisively according to the law.
But you see him achieving these priorities he just mentioned, because we all know he just
anti-corruption. Well, there are successes there. Before then, in 2017, convictions were about 100 and something, 17. But now there has been more than 3,000 convictions. That's it. You know, there are many cases in court already being pursued. If there are obstacles to that, maybe the National Assembly should look into it and see whether they can give some teeth to the fight. You know.
Now, the focus on security is definitely going to be to continue to engage, to push back, and dismantle all the operations of the Boko Haram and every other insecurity activities in the country.
Insecurity, that has been there with us. And it was when I listened to that speech that I realized that 82,000 insurgents have surrendered to government. The number 82,000 frightened me. So if 82,000 surrendered, who knows how many that have not surrendered? So they are in such numbers. That shows you the kind of Herculean challenge the government is up against. Can you imagine the number of insurgents? Are you now saying that 82,000 of them are fully armed? Then that's a serious matter. You know, so it makes me appreciate the enormity of the challenge before the government, the security agencies. And they also called in that speech that security is not for security agencies alone, that people should be able to provide intelligence, cooperate with security agencies and government to root out all these bandits that come in various shades, in various regions of the country. Almost no region is spared. So it's not a battle that should be left for government alone. I perceive this from the speech.
All right, Mr. Zala, we'll pause here for a while. I'll get back to you. This is Frontiers, and we are taking a look at the President's New Year message. The discussion continues shortly. Stay tuned.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the President also said that in terms of economic matters, the focus would be on maintaining and building economic growth through national economy diversification agenda, which supports the goal of national food self-sufficiency and growth in non-oil sectors. In your opinion, do you think a lot has been done in achieving this?
Well, let me also say that the word diversification in this country, I've been hearing it from my days as a teenager. It's been there. We recognize the need to diversify the economy so that we don't keep remaining a monocultural oil-producing economy. That is known to everybody. But what have we done? You know, by the time this government came into place, they recognized that and they have made some moves. You know, the rice production that they're incentivizing. They are supporting rural farmers.
That's the transformation
exactly.
in the agricultural sector.
They are doing that, but whether that is enough, because there are other intervening variables. You know, you see the flooding, it has impact on food production. Climate change has impact on insecurity, has impact. So there are a lot of things that they didn't reckon with that have come to kind of truncate some of the moves by government to show up food security in the country. But the important thing is that government recognize that, you know, and they are doing something. But I think there is need not just to diversify the economy and support agriculture, but also to diversify the interventions so that we can move forward. It's not good for us as a country of more than 200 million people that wheat supplies stop coming from Ukraine and price of bread would go up so drastically. So we should find ways of being self-sufficient in food production. If we really have to move forward economically, we can't be dependent on importation of food. So whatever this government has done, we recognize that. We also recognize the challenges that have come before them. Please, whatever government is coming next time should be able to study this very, very well and bring interventions that will root out whatever inadequacies we have in feeding ourselves. You know.
Now, he also touched on the ongoing infrastructural revolution across the country by his administration and the resolve to deliver key projects across the nation in power, rail, roads, ports, and technology. What's your view about this?
Yes, I recognize the zeal, the enthusiasm. You know, you say that. Whether that qualifies as a revolution is another thing. You know, it's one thing for government to recognize. It's another thing for government to intervene. But you also know that government resources are finite, are limited. So if you plan to do, for instance, this 1,000-kilometer road, and with that year, there is COVID, there is lockdown, what do? You divert resources meant for that to another. So we recognize what has been happening. But that zeal is important, and it has led to opening of the Niger Bridge, one other bridge, in Benue, another one in the rail line, the railway between Lagos and Ibadan, the expressway between Lagos and Ibadan, and many other parts of the country. So that's the enthusiasm, the zeal on the part of government to improve infrastructure has led to those results. But whether that is enough, it can never really be enough. We know we need more. We need more of such. So I'm talking now to the government that is coming next time. So we vote in people who will come and continue from where this government stopped. And between now and even May, some of those infrastructure, they should be able to finish some of them.
Now to the Hydra-headed, should I call it monster, eating up the nation's economic fiber, the anti-corruption fight. You've mentioned some conviction earlier on when you talked.
Yes.
But do you see his administration fight against corruption as making a headway?
Well, you should understand that this fight against corruption has to be done within the ambit of the law. In terms of statistics, the figures have shown you the increase, hinted at the increase in convictions from 100 and something to 3,000 and something. That is progress, tremendous, huge leap. Yeah, but we expected more. Yes, I will always say we expected more. And the impunity in corruption is still there. So in other words, even the convictions have not instilled fear. It doesn't seem to be acting as a deterrent to corrupt people who are hemorrhaging our resources.
Why do you say so?
Because it still continues. And what happens now is that if you bring a measure and people are being punished and things continue the way they are, it means that it's either the measure is not enough or people are becoming more diehard in corruption. So I want a situation whereby people are afraid of perpetrating corrupt practices, knowing fully well what will happen to them. So there is something there that is generating impunity that we should tackle. The government has demonstrated that they really want to prosecute people, and they have been prosecuting people. That's not that they can't, there's not that, unless you are saying that they should use the extrajudicial measures to fight corruption. They are charging people to court. So are you saying that there should be a special court for corruption? Then let us talk about the solutions now. Then you see there should be special judicial institution for corruption. Then in that case, and putting the right personnel to be able to deal decisively and expeditiously with these issues. That is one. Are the normal courts not delivering as we want? It's wanting to serve justice. It's also necessary to serve it on time. Are we getting that? Bails are given to people and nobody sees them. So please, I believe that the government is sincere, but the measures are not yielding the positive results, which is that slowing down corruption. So
are you of the opinion that the government's efforts and all the introduced measures wasn't really impactful?
Well, impactful, that's what you call impact. Impact in the sense that people are being held. People are being prosecuted. That's impact. People are being convicted. That's impact. Then the other impact, which is that corruption is being reduced in society, is another one. Two different kinds of impact. The second one, I'm not perceiving it yet. The other one, at least if people are not convicted, they're in court.
Okay, now moving on. In the light of the 2023 general elections, what is your charge to the candidates of the various political parties and as well the electorates?
Well, stick to the issues. Not just telling us what the problems are. Some of us know. Let us have the solutions. Let us have the solutions. Tell us what you are going to do. Based on that, we can be able to vote the people. It is not a question of everybody should clear from the way I'm supposed to be the one. Oh, I started in 1900 and things like that. No. The issue there is that we have these problems. If you elect me today, these are the solutions. Within this period, I will give you the results. So we can be able to vote competence. We can be able to vote credibility. But if you are not telling us that, and people are demonstrating how much money they have and things like that, it may not lead us anywhere. Please let the issues take center stage. Let the issues take the front burner. Let demonstrable capacity be shown to us so that we can be able to make the right choices. People can make wrong choices because of the information available to them. So let us provide accurate, extensive information to the electorate so that they can make right choices. Let there be more debates, more talk shows, more people, more information. They should elaborate on the manifestos they have released. point by point. What are the solutions? Keep telling us in various languages, and people can be able to be well informed to make the right choices.
Now, the president rounded up his message with the charge to Nigerians to look up with hope to 2023, a year to move forward as a nation towards unity, progress, and prosperity. What's your admonition in this regard?
Yes, he has done the right thing by inspiring hope in the citizenry that next year, which is the year we are in now, is going to be better than the previous years. That it's also, the caveat should be there if we do the right things. And what are those right things? The government knows we have a budget to implement. We have to find creative ways to be able to come out of deficit and implement projects that would lift society. On the citizen part, we should be able to participate in our democracy. Democratic ethos have been entrenched. It is now left for us to capitalize on it, to make the right choice of leaders so that things will improve. Economically, we have been able to identify the externalities that are giving us challenges locally here. So what are those local ones that we are supposed to take care of? Let all hands be on deck. Let us also recognize that government is not just the federal government. We have other tiers of government, state governments, and local governments. Everybody should sit up and things will be okay. So the president is optimistic, and I share that optimism.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pade-Ezeala, for coming on Frontiers.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here.
We appreciate you for the insights. We appreciate you for your response. We have been taking a look at President Buhari's New Year message to Nigerians, and our guest has been Pade-Ezeala, a public affairs analyst. Cheers to a new year and another chance for us as a nation to get it right. My name is Obiageli Ugoke. Thanks for staying.